The underfloor plank has been a hot topic since the United States Grand Prix in Austin, as everyone's favourite Mercedes driver found himself disqualified from the race. And amid all the plank talk, an FIA steward uses the opportunity to confess a fatal mistake they made in 2016 that left Lewis Hamilton fuming. Let's take a look at it in today's video. People within Mercedes have acknowledged that the issue of plank wear, which resulted in Lewis Hamilton's disqualification from the United States Grand Prix, could have had a significant impact on the performance of his Formula One car. The exclusion of both Hamilton and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc from the US Grand Prix classification due to their failure in a post-race plank wear check sent ripples of surprise throughout the paddock and reignited discussions around a long-standing Formula One regulation. This turn of events resulted in Hamilton forfeiting his podium position behind the race winner, Max Verstappen, which added a bitter note for Mercedes to digest, especially considering it occurred during the team's most formidable performance of a challenging 2023 season. Mercedes team principal, Toto Wolff, expressed their acceptance of the FIA's decision and their willingness to take it in stride, saying that setup choices on a sprint weekend are always a challenge with just 1 hour of free practice, and even more so at bumpy circuits like COTA and running a new package. In the end, all of that doesn't matter. Others got it right where we got it wrong, and there's no wiggle room in the rules. We need to take it on the chin, do the learning, and come back stronger next week. Hamilton crossed the finish line just a bit over 2 seconds behind Verstappen, following an impressive final stint in which the 7-time world champion executed a charging performance on a unique strategy, distinct from that of his former title rival. Mercedes' competitive edge received a significant boost with the introduction of a new floor upgrade in Austin. This upgrade, especially for Hamilton, instilled fresh confidence in the team's somewhat inconsistent W14 Challenger. Before being disqualified, Hamilton said, "The step we were able to take this weekend has given me a little bit more confidence in the car to throw it into the corners. I really enjoyed driving around this track. There are still some of the fundamental issues we're having with the car, which won't change until next year, but it was really positive to feel the step we had taken. Maybe it was only 0.1 seconds upgrade, but there was at least a 0.1 seconds of confidence it gave me. It is quite interesting when you see what happens when you do have those. It's like a double knock-on effect." As reported by the BBC, insiders from the Mercedes team acknowledged that the costly plank error would indeed have had some impact on the car's performance. However, they emphasised that it wouldn't have resulted in any substantial advantage. It's still uncertain whether the modified floor played a role in influencing their mistake, and Mercedes will have to wait until the upcoming Mexico City Grand Prix next weekend to gain a better understanding of the situation. Considering that Ferrari also faced issues with Leclerc's car, it becomes more plausible that the limited running due to the sprint format, coupled with a lack of adequate setup time and COTA's uneven track surface, might have played a more significant role in causing Mercedes' plank wear problems. Hamilton and Leclerc were found to be in violation of Article 3.5.9e of the 2023 Formula One Technical Regulations, which states, "The thickness of the plank assembly measured normal to the lower surface must be 10 mm, plus or minus 0.2 mm, and must be uniform when new. A minimum thickness of 9 mm will be acceptable due to wear, and conformity to this provision will be checked at the peripheries of the designated holes." This breach was detected through unannounced post-race inspections of the car floors, during which FIA technical delegate Joe Bauer identified an excessive level of wear on the skids on the undersides of both Hamilton and Leclerc's cars. Similar inspections were conducted on the cars of Verstappen and Lando Norris, but unlike Hamilton and Leclerc, their cars were found to be in compliance with the regulations. There have been instances of similar breaches in the past, with a few notable precedents. Planks, also known as skid blocks, were introduced on the underside of Formula One cars starting from the 1994 German Grand Prix. The implementation of a 10mm rectangular-shaped wooden plank was a response to the tragic fatalities of Roland Ratzenberger and Ayrton Senna at Imola earlier in that season. These events prompted the FIA to explore safety enhancements within the sport. The initial instance of a driver being disqualified for a plank wear violation occurred with Michael Schumacher, as his Benetton was excluded from the results of the 1994 Belgian Grand Prix. Jarno Trulli faced a similar situation when he was initially disqualified due to an excessively worn plank following the 2001 United States Grand Prix. However, the Italian driver was later reinstated into 4th place after a successful appeal by the Jordan team. The recent plank wear violations by Hamilton and Leclerc mark the first occurrences of this kind in over 2 decades, underscoring just how infrequent such breaches are in the sport. Unfortunately for Hamilton, this isn't the first time the FIA ruled against his favour. An FIA steward has recently opened up about what he considers one of the most significant errors in his career, which involved assessing the high-profile collision between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg in 2016. At that time, during the intense battle for the Drivers' Championship between the formidable Mercedes teammates, Hamilton and Rosberg, one of the season's pivotal moments, was the well-known collision between the two as they vied for the lead at the beginning of the Spanish Grand Prix. Heading into turn 4, Hamilton made an attempt to utilise his superior momentum to pull ahead of Rosberg. However, as the German moved to block him, Hamilton found himself off the track. This led to a loss of control, resulting in a collision between the two cars that ultimately left them stranded in the gravel. In a recent appearance on the F1 Nation podcast, Tim Meyer, chairman of the FIA Stewards, joined host Tom Clarkson to discuss and provide insights into the operations of the stewards during the US Grand Prix weekend. In an interesting turn, when prompted to share a story about the dynamics between competitors and the stewards, Meyer disclosed that one of his most significant regrets was related to how he managed the aftermath of the Hamilton-Rosberg collision. Notably, this regret did not stem from the official decision not to penalise either driver, as neither was primarily at fault. Meyer, who was part of the trio of stewards that weekend, working alongside Radovan Novak and Martin Donnelly, admitted that his interactions with Hamilton had not been managed particularly effectively from his side. He explained that, "My biggest mistake ever as a steward was in 2016 at the Spanish GP. Hamilton and Rosberg started the race in Barcelona and they crashed. Both drivers were out. We bring them in afterward and we decide no further action in the end, but Lewis says to me, 'Well, what was I supposed to do?' As a steward, somebody who's never driven an F1 car, I started to tell him what I thought he ought to have done. That wasn't respectful of me. He got up, he was a bit mad, and he slammed the door and walked out. Poor Ron Meadows, his team manager, went absolutely white in the face and said, 'Oh, I'll get him back to apologise.' I said, 'Actually, Ron, I need you to go and apologise on my behalf because it was a stupid thing for me to do. It's maybe not my stupidest thing as a steward, but I'm not going to tell you the other ones.'" Although he wasn't one of the stewards for the US Grand Prix weekend, Meyer shared his perspective on the issue of the underfloor planks. With these cars that create most of their downforce with the underfloor, you have to have some way of stopping them from just absolutely sending the car right down to the ground, he said. So this plank, which is down the middle of the car, is a piece of... Everybody has a little piece of different stuff, but Jabrock is what they mostly call it. It wears, and that means you can't go all the way down as far as you want. If you wear that plank too much, it means the car has been too low to the ground, and that downforce that you get from that underfloor effect is more than we care for them to have. Do you think that checking the underfloor plank should be a part of the routine check in Formula 1? Why, or why not? Tell us what you think in the comment section down below. And, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.